Did you know you can complete the Kandring diary while being in Relica? Well, you can, and this is all possible because of a single chest, and someone's lazy copy and paste job over 2 decades ago. You see, Jagex loved to copy and paste content, literally. Take the early thieving chests for example. You might have only seen these 10 GP chests in Ardoon before, but when they were released back in 2002, they were pasted all over the world, including the deep wilderness. The issue with copy and pasting simple content like this is that all of the objects share the same ID, which on the surface is fine, but what they didn't consider at the time was the future. For example, you've probably been here before, right? You know, the home of the fishing contest. But did you ever notice this little house with just one chest sitting inside of it and nothing else? Well, this chest contains just a few coins and 5 steel arrow tips, so it's not exactly all that appealing. But it is a requirement for the Kandring medium diary. The diary task specifically states, steal from the chest in Hemminster, between the range and anvil. But then, why does thieving the steel arrow tips chest in Relica complete this task then? Well, all 3 of these chests share the same object ID, which is the only check used to determine if this task is completed. A small oversight from code developed 2 decades ago. Speaking of coding errors, during my Extreme Chest Locked series, I actually discovered a bug. The Isle of Souls brought in 2 chests that work together. The Isle of Souls dungeon chest and the dark chest. To open the dark chest, you require an untradeable dark key that is obtained from the chest in the dungeon. But even with this key being untradeable, not many people actually loot this chest at all, as all of the drops from the dark chest are obtainable elsewhere. When I was first looting this chest on my account, I noticed that the wiki didn't have a nothing roll on the drop table. But then, explain this. I clearly just got nothing, so I tried replicating it in many situations and noticed that the only way to hit this nothing roll was to have 1 free inventory slot. After I showcased this, it got added to the wiki with the exact reasoning being unknown. But my suspected theory is that when 1 inventory slot is left and the game rolls 2 items, instead of the normal behavior, adding 1 to your inventory and 1 to the floor, it simply deletes the items as the game doesn't know what to do with them. This doesn't affect too much, but it's cool nonetheless. Later in this video, we'll discover even more chests with programming oversights, but for now, let's speak about slavery. Well, not really, more like kidnapping? Gutenoth is the ogre city found in Feldip Hills, and being released back in May 2003, there's a lot of janky and forgotten content, such as this rock cake shop that doesn't sell rock cakes. Well, in this city lies a chest with a drop table that looks like this. Oh, and this. Yep, this is one of the only chests in the game to spawn NPCs, and it even gives them drop rates? Why are they here? Are the ogres keeping a food supply? I understand the rats and spiders, but are dwarfs a delicacy to ogres? How did they even get here? Like, the closest chaos dwarfs are in Taverley Dungeon, all the way at the other end of Gillinor. Maybe the dwarfs came here trying to steal the rock cake recipe and eventually succeeded with the dwarven rock cake existing, but maybe they got kidnapped, so maybe I'm setting them free when I do this. Whoops. And if you want to do this to tanks and planes, today's video sponsor War Thunder has you covered. War Thunder is the most in-depth vehicle combat game ever created, and you can now play it for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. You can control over 2,500 vehicles, including tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations. Plus, these vehicles aren't just the same shell with a different look. War Thunder has some of the most realistic vehicles in all of gaming. They're incredibly detailed, realistic, and the damage system is one of the most comprehensive I've ever experienced. Every vehicle is modeled down to its individual components, meaning each component has its own health. If you take out a plane's engine, no more flying for them. War Thunder also features an insane customization system with countless camouflages and decorations for all types of vehicles, including ones created by the community. There's also a massive bonus pack available for a limited time only that's not only for new players but also returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months. This bonus pack includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. These are just a few of the reasons over 70 million players have participated in epic PvP battles and why you should delve into War Thunder and experience it for yourself. So click my link in the pinned comment or video description to join War Thunder today. I don't know what it is with ogres and chests, but ogres thrive around them. Take these ogre coffins for example. And yes, I'm considering coffins chests. Let's face it, you've completed a tower before and typed, oh my god, a purple chest, so don't argue with me here. Anyways, ogre coffins. These things are wild. You can either open them with keys obtained from the Zergers in the area, or you can open them at 20 thieving, taking the risk of failure, draining your thieving level, among other things. The drop table here is nothing special, but it does have 2 roles, one for this regular loot, and one on the bones table. This table offers bones rarely seen anywhere else in the game. In fact, most of the bones here are exclusive to this chest. Zergers obviously drop Zerger bones as well, but the only way to obtain Orc bones outside of this chest is by defeating Slash Bash in the Zerger Flesh Eaters quest. I still don't know why General Grodor doesn't drop these bones, you know, the guy believed to be the last living Orc. But I guess he's just a fraud. Ogre coffins also have a developer error included. If you thieve these coffins, you can only get 2 herbs, Lantadime and Dwarfweed. However, it was never intended to be this way. In fact, I believe lower tier herbs actually still exist on the herb subtable, but due to a programming oversight when the code was written, all herbs on the subtable lower than Lantadime become Lantadime when rolled. It's crazy that this was never fixed, but understandable in a way, due to the lack of people actually doing the content and the profit being lower if it was fixed. Speaking of profit, Jagex recently updated the Rogues chests to be much more profitable and give them much more experience. In my series, I only just unlocked these, meaning I now have some illegal shark and tuna from their old drop table. But did you know there are actually 2 types of Rogues chests? We have these beautifully updated ones outside of the castle, and then some forgotten ones inside the castle. With an entirely different drop table, these chests have been neglected for a long time, and they're so long forgotten that Jagex themselves forgot about them, as these chests got no love in the recent Wilderness update. The chests inside are nothing special, mostly dropping, well, nothing, but they do have a small chance of giving blood, nature, and death runes, as well as some coins. I was really hoping the update would do something to these chests, but it seems today is not that day. The other updated chest was the Muddy chest, the super scary chest located in the middle of the lava maze in the Wilderness. While the updates here are actually pretty good, adding both blighted supplies and Laren's keys to the drop table, that's not what I want to talk about. To open this chest, you require Muddy keys, and what is one of the only and best ways to obtain Muddy keys? Chaos Dwarfs. Maybe the ogres were onto something. Now let's move on to something a little more fun. Mechanics. Chest mechanics are all over the place. We have chests that damage you, chests that break combat mechanics, and chests that teleport you and teleport you and teleport you. Can you tell I've got a sore spot for this mechanic? There are multiple chests in the game that have a teleportation mechanic of some kind, and it all started back in 2002, when thieving, along with Ardoon and some of the surrounding areas, were released into the world of RuneScape. One of these areas is the Chaos Druid Tower, an area that you've probably never ventured to. Just north of West Ardoon lies a tower holding 4 Chaos Druids and a small dungeon. In this dungeon is a chest that is older than time itself, the Blood Rune chest. Now, let's be real for a second. You've probably seen this chest while scrolling through the thieving skill guide, but how many of you have actually opened it? I for one haven't, not even on my chest locked series, and there's a good reason for that. The chest contains 2 blood runes and 500 GP, which seems super useful quite early into an account, right? Well, when you thieve this chest, you actually have a 100% chance of getting teleported to this cute little house in Ardoon. This building's only purpose is to be the sole teleport destination that makes this chest completely unviable. Otherwise, it'd honestly be a pretty good chest. Oh, and did you notice what's lurking around the chest? Ogres! What is their obsession with being involved in every piece of chest content ever? In recent years, however, Jagex learned from their mistakes and introduced 2 more chests with teleportation mechanics, but this time, no ogres. One of these Forsaken chests is the Isle of Souls dungeon chest we spoke about earlier, which does have a chance of teleporting you out of the dungeon every time you fail to loot the chest. The other is the Stone chest in the Lizardman encampment on Zaya, but every time you fail, you have a 1 in 8 chance of being teleported to the surface, where the aggressive lizard men in the area will promptly poison you, making this a pretty annoying chest to open. Combine this with the fact that even at level 99 with a lockpick, you still have a 30% chance to fail. You're gonna be teleported out a lot. But teleporting's an intended mechanic that just happens to be annoying. What about a chest that breaks game mechanics altogether? That breaks one of the most well-rooted systems in the game: combat. Shades of Morton's surprisingly popular content, with 5 tiers of chests spanning multiple fire-making levels required to open them. There's a lot to unpack here, but I wanted to talk about one specific event that happens at each of these chests: the Undead Zealot. Undead Zealots have a 5% chance to spawn when a player opens any shared Catacombs chest. That means in one inventory of keys, you should expect to see just one of these. But what happens if you spawn multiple in one inventory? And what happens if you don't kill them? Well, that's where the black magic happens. The entire shared catacombs is a single combat area, meaning you can only be in combat with one NPC, and no others can attack you. But these undead zealots are something else, literally breaking the game. If you happen to spawn multiple undead zealots in one inventory, they actually all attack you at the same time, bypassing the single target requirement and essentially functioning like they're in a multi-combat area. What makes this even weirder is the shades in the room can't attack as well an undead zealot's on us, meaning it's not the area, it's the monster spawned from the chest itself. I'm unsure of any other instances where multiple things can attack you in a single area in the game. If anyone knows of any, let me know in the comments. Now, we all know that Jagex make mistakes, such as a twisted bow bush, right? Well, they're normally genuine accidents. But what if they decided to add something to the game purposely that hurt it? This happened with the chest, the Brimstone chest specifically. It doesn't state it on the wiki, but when the Brimstone chest was released, the drop table was vastly different. It included a drop of Sarah-doming brews. Now, if you weren't around for this, how many do you think they added? 1, 2, 4, 8 maybe? Nope. They added 2,500 noted brews to the drop table. This was obviously met with community backlash, and when people started hitting these drops, people thought they were fake. So this obviously got reverted due to people thinking that the insane amount of supplies would crash the economy, but there are still remnants of it in the game today. If you open a Brimstone chest and carefully look at the open chest model, you'll see a small vial at the lower right. This is a Sarah-doming brew because the model for the chest was designed with the original drop table in mind. This video style was totally new to me, so if you'd like to see more, please click the like and subscribe buttons to show me that you're genuinely interested. Also, thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Remember to click the link in the description to get your massive bonus pack. I also started streaming and I'm probably live right now. Come hang out by going to kick.com/Tellacon.